The wind whispered secrets through the cracks in the old Desai manor, carrying echoes of a forgotten tragedy. Dust motes danced in the afternoon sun, illuminating the intricate carvings of the once grand, now decaying halls. I, Amelia, the last remaining Desai, stood on the threshold, a knot of apprehension tightening in my stomach. 10 years had passed since I last entered these walls, 10 years shrouded in the chilling mystery of my parents' disappearance. Now, driven by a yearning for answers and a spark of newfound courage, I was back. The silence within held a weight that pressed down on me, thicker than the dust that coated everything in sight. It was in this oppressive atmosphere, a tapestry woven with memory and dread, that my journey of unearthing the Desai legacy began.
Sundae Suspense Horror Story. The silence in the old Desai manor was as heavy as the dust motes dancing in the afternoon sun filtering through the grimy windows. I, Amelia, the last remaining Desai, stood in the cavernous hall, the floorboards groaning under my hesitant steps. It had been 10 years since I'd last stepped foot in this desolate place, 10 years since my parents mysteriously vanished within its walls on a stormy Sunday. The police had found nothing, the house deemed unfit for habitation, and I, a wide-eyed child, shipped off to a distant relative. Now, an adult yearning for answers, I was back. The air hung thick with the scent of decay and something I couldn't quite place, a metallic tang that sent shivers down my spine. I pushed open a creaking door, the rusty hinges screaming their protest. Inside, a library, shelves overflowing with leather-bound tomes, loomed before me. As I ran my fingers along the spines, a book titled Desai Family Secrets tumbled out, its pages brittle with age. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, skeletal shadows across the room. I lit a kerosene lamp, its flickering flame sending grotesque shapes dancing on the walls. As I devoured the book, a chilling tale unfolded. The Desais, it seemed, were not ordinary people. They dabbled in the occult, attempting to commune with the spirits of their ancestors. The final entry spoke of a ritual gone wrong, a gateway open to a dimension beyond our own, and a desperate plea for help. A sudden gust of wind howled through the house, extinguishing the lamp and plunging me into darkness. Panic clawed at my throat. I fumbled for the matches, my heart hammering against my ribs. As I struck a light, I froze. A figure stood at the far end of the room, shrouded in shadow, its form shifting and contorting in ways no human body could. Terror choked my scream. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair. The figure glided towards me, its movements fluid yet unnatural. I could see the glint of malevolent eyes reflecting the faint moonlight filtering through a broken window. Just as it lunged, a blood-curdling shriek tore through the air. I spun around to see a monstrous crow perched on the bookshelf, its black eyes fixed on the creature. The figure recoiled, hissing like a serpent. The crow cawed again, a sound that echoed with otherworldly power. The creature turned and fled through a broken window, vanishing into the night. The crow stayed, its gaze unwavering. Slowly, it hopped down from the shelf and landed on the book I had dropped. Its beak tapped the page where the final plea for help was written. Understanding dawned on me. The crow was no ordinary bird, it was the guardian, the protector bound to the Desai family. It had come to warn me, to help me fight the evil that lurked within these walls. With newfound resolve, I spent the night poring over the book, searching for a way to undo the ritual, to close the gateway. The crow stayed by my side, its presence a source of comfort in the oppressive darkness. As dawn broke, casting a pale light on the dusty room, I found the ritual I needed. It was complex, demanding, and spoke of a price to be paid. But I was determined. I gathered the ingredients, following the instructions meticulously. The ritual took place at dusk, under the watchful gaze of the crow. As I chanted the ancient words, the air crackled with unseen energy. The house groaned, the floorboards trembling beneath my feet. The wind howled outside, a symphony of unearthly sounds. Just as I finished the final incantation, a blinding light erupted from the center of the room. The air grew frigid, and I felt a presence unlike anything I had ever encountered. It was ancient, powerful, and filled with an unimaginable rage. The crow screeched, its black feathers glowing with an otherworldly light. It launched itself at the entity, its small body a beacon of defiance against the overwhelming darkness. The entity recoiled, its form flickering and fading. With a final ear-splitting shriek, the crow dissipated into a million shimmering particles of light. The entity let out a deafening roar before vanishing completely, leaving behind an unsettling silence. I collapsed onto the floor, drained and trembling. The weight of the experience threatened to consume me. But as I looked around the now peaceful room, a sense of calm washed over me. The Desai Manor was no longer a prison, but a place of liberation. I knew this was just the beginning. The evil had been banished, but the scars remained. I had a long road ahead, one that would lead me to unravel the truth behind my parents' disappearance and the legacy I had inherited. But for now, I was no longer afraid. The Desai Manor held no terrors for me anymore. It held the quiet whisper of a memory, a reminder of the sacrifice made by a loyal guardian and the courage it had ignited within me. The following days were a blur of activity. I contacted the local authorities, informing them about my return and the state of the house. A team arrived, their faces etched with disbelief as I recounted my experience. They searched the house, finding nothing out of the ordinary, no hidden rooms, no secret passages, nothing to corroborate my claims. Disappointed but not surprised, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I hired a local historian, Mr. Joshi, a kind old man with a twinkle in his eyes and a deep knowledge of the town's history. He spent days poring over the Desai family archives, unearthing forgotten stories and cryptic references. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across Mr. Joshi's cluttered study, he handed me a leather-bound journal. It belonged to my great-grandfather, the one who had dabbled in the occult. The entries spoke of his experiments, his growing obsession with contacting the spirit world, and the fateful night the ritual went wrong. The final entry sent chills down my spine. He spoke of a pact made with the entity, a promise of power in exchange for something he held dear. It was clear now. My parents hadn't vanished, they were trapped, sacrifices offered to appease the malevolent force my great-grandfather had unleashed. A new fire ignited within me, a thirst for justice not just for myself but for my parents. Mr. Joshi, seeing my resolve, offered his help. He spoke of an ancient ritual, one that could sever the pact and potentially free the trapped souls. But it was a dangerous undertaking, requiring an artifact mentioned in my great-grandfather's notes, the Eye of Indra, a gem said to possess immense power. The search for the Eye of Indra led me on a perilous journey, through dusty antique shops, hidden libraries, and even the depths of forgotten temples. I faced danger at every turn, from unscrupulous individuals seeking to exploit my desperation to malevolent forces drawn to the darkness I carried within. Finally, after weeks of relentless pursuit, I found the Eye of Indra nestled within a forgotten statue in an abandoned temple deep within the wilderness. As I held the gem in my hand, I felt a surge of energy course through me, a power both exhilarating and terrifying. I returned to the Desai Manor, the Eye of Indra pulsating with an ethereal glow in my palm. Mr. Joshi, his face etched with concern, helped me prepare for the ritual. The air crackled with anticipation as I chanted the ancient words, the room filling with an otherworldly light. The entity materialized before me, its form a grotesque amalgamation of rage and despair. It lunged at me, but the Eye of Indra pulsed with blinding light, pushing the entity back. The room shook violently, the Desai Manor groaning in protest. With a final, earth-shattering roar, the entity dissipated, leaving behind an unsettling silence. I collapsed, drained and exhausted, the Eye of Indra slipping from my grasp and clattering to the floor. Silence descended upon the Desai Manor, broken only by my ragged breaths. I waited, hope battling with fear in my heart. Then, a faint sound, a whisper carried on the wind. I turned towards the source, my heart pounding in my chest. A figure emerged from the shadows, their form barely visible in the dim light. It was my mother, her face etched with the passage of time, but her eyes filled with love and recognition. Beside her stood my father, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips. Tears streamed down my face as I rushed towards them, the years of separation melting away in the warmth of their embrace. Their touch was like a phantom caress, a bittersweet reminder of their sacrifice and the price of their freedom. As dawn broke, casting its golden light upon the Desai Manor, my parents began to fade. With a final look of love and gratitude, they disappeared, leaving behind only an echo of their presence and a newfound peace within my heart. The ordeal had taken its toll, leaving me forever marked by the events that unfolded within the walls of the Desai Manor. But I was no longer afraid. I carried the memory of my parents and the lessons learned within the heart of that terrifying yet liberating experience. The Desai Manor, once a place of darkness, now stood as a testament to the enduring power of love, sacrifice, and the courage to face the unknown. And as I stepped out into the sunlight, I knew that the legacy of the Desais, though forever changed, would live on.
As the morning sun bathed the Desai Manor in a gentle light, a single crow circled overhead, its mournful caw echoing faintly. The ordeal had carved its mark, a permanent reminder of the darkness and the light I had encountered within those walls. Stepping out into the sunlight, I carried the memory of my parents, a bittersweet legacy etched in my heart. The Desai Manor, once a symbol of fear, now stood as a testament to the enduring power of love, sacrifice, and the courage to confront the unknown. And as I walked away, I knew that while the story may have ended, the echoes of the Desais, forever changed, would continue to resonate within the halls of their ancestral home. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I really appreciate your support. Did you have a favorite part of the story? Let me know in the comments below. And if you know someone who might enjoy this video, please share it with them. What other stories would you like to see me cover in the future? Leave your suggestions in the comments and let's get a conversation going. If you enjoyed this video, it would be the cherry on top of my sundae if you hit that subscribe button. Plus, it's scientifically proven to make your teeth whiter and your hair shinier. Okay, maybe not, but it is appreciated.